Hello and welcome. You might be wondering at this point, am I making another video based on what I've been playing most recently? No? Why would you think that? Slay the Spire is a turn-based roguelike card game. No, not that kind of card game. A game in which you die over and over and over again. Sounds like fun, innit? And it's actually canon, as the Ancient of Resurrection, Meow, or the Big Blue Whale, brings back the player every time he has a victory? As we've done before, we'll be looking at not one, not two, not even 3, 4, 5 or 6, but 7 topics, which I'll only mention the names of so we don't waste another 5 minutes like in the previous videos. Namely, the narrative, the characters, the fantasy elements, the magic system, the uniqueness, the immersion and the gameplay. Let's get right to it. The narrative. As the adventurer, you start at the very bottom of the spire, which is some sort of gauntlet that you need to undertake for various reasons. What is your end goal? To slay the spire. Okay, roll credits. So, as you ascend, you slaughter enemies of all shapes and sizes, so that you can grow stronger and beat one of the final bosses on the 3rd floor. But the story doesn't end here, because you have to collect 3 keys, one for each wait a minute. 4 characters, 3 keys... Oh no! Anyway, with all of them gathered, you unlock the door to the real, final boss of Act 4, the Corrupt Heart. If you defeat it, your character manages to slay the spire and achieves his personal goal. It's a simple to understand concept, straightforward, and it even comes with a twist in the form of the secret boss. It's not directly a narrative driven game, but it still deserves 3 stars. The characters. Short intermission. Did you know the Silent was a female character? If you've played the game, most probably, yeah. Well, I had no freaking clue after 200 hours. Getting back on topic, the first character is the Iron Chad. Yup, see it's spelled right here. Iron Chad. The Ironclad is the sole survivor of a military group, and story has him selling his soul for demonic powers. What we do find out is that he slaughtered his companions in the process. What could his goal in the spire possibly be? To get control of said demonic energies. And if you manage to beat the heart, you do indeed succeed in some way. This is fine. The Silent is a member of a group of huntresses who just had her coming of age ritual. After defeating a nemesis elite, her sisters placed the skull of the monster atop her head and she is now ready for the real trial. She goes into the spire for the sole purpose of proving herself before her sisters, and in the final art after beating the heart, we see her escaping the spire and staring longingly into the distance, probably ready to return to her tribe. Now, for the defect. He's defective construct. He was once an automaton like the orb walkers and had a sudden awakening to the lack of balance within the spire itself. The sensory stone event for him is really funny actually. He lets out a warning. Large object approaching. And the immediate answer is the greeting of the Resurrection Ancient. I am Meow. There's nothing really certain as to what he does after he beats the heart, but judging from the final art, he seems woke. Lastly, the Watcher is a blind monk who ironically enough observes others. What could possibly be her reason for coming to the spire? Take a look at the Time Eater, the slug boss on the 3rd floor. See any resemblances? No? Okay, well the robes are the same. He was once a monk from her group and she has gone to see what has transpired within this unknown spire. It is a sad ending because she has to kill him and he even has a special dialogue just for her. Never liked you. Why you gotta do my girl like this, man? Go right ahead, Watcher baby girl. Slay the spire. Break it all to pieces. The characters are all unique, really interesting and very different from one another. It's amazing how you can discover more about them and their past through the events. And even the mobs, elites and bosses are extremely interesting and diverse, so this category has earned its 5 stars. The fantasy elements. We got all sorts of adventurers, we got monsters of all shapes and sizes and even places to explore, sights to see. There's magic, there's death and life, we got relics with ancient powers and shady individuals who sell used cards, we got curses, we have treasures and death traps all over the place. Is there literally anything else that you could hope for? Yup, 5 stars, that's about it. The magic system. For gameplay reasons, the player characters channel their powers through cards. The 4 main types of power based on the player characters are demonic energies, toxin manipulation, magical orb powers, and the sixth sense during post-nut clarity. The player can also make use of the magical potency stored in relics scattered across the spire. Or not if you want an achievement on Steam. All of the bosses and monsters also possess similar powers in their attempt to bring you down. This is all pretty average, rather standard if I do say so myself. So the verdict for the magic system is 3 stars. The uniqueness. The market has grown oversaturated with a large number of good dungeon crawlers and roguelikes in the recent years. What makes Slay the Spire stand apart from the other good titles? The fact that it's structured as a card game. This randomized effect for each and every turn adds another layer for combat that you need to take into account and which can screw you up if you don't make it well rounded. While the universe is interestingly designed, the dungeon-like setting of the Spire is not very unique. All of the other concepts such as gold, relics, potions and random events are also commonly reiterated in all roguelikes. By narrowing down the pros and cons we get an average 3 stars. But wait, there's an honorary mention which might change the tides. Once you finish the game on all characters, you can switch to the beta card art, which is so sweet and wholesome that the developers decided to implement, so I'll raise the rating to 4 stars. The immersion. The fact that you've got so many playstyles spread across multiple characters, it really draws you in, and each and every floor has you hanging on the edge of your seat, especially if there are multiple events. It's that tension when you know something can ruin your entire run if you go up against it, and you hope for anything but it.
No, God!
Either if it's an elite, an event, or even a common monster. And in the moment that you do manage to conjure up the perfect deck, it's so satisfying and it feels so rewarding that I can't help but give this category a good 4 stars. Why not 5, you may ask? In my opinion, the music and sound effects seem a bit limited, and the backgrounds are good, but not quite memorable. The gameplay gets 5 stars. Yup, this was the review. See ya! Okay, I'll explain why it is the number 1 element of Slay the Spire. As I've mentioned before, the satisfaction of a good deck is gratifying, and the wide range of potential builds gives it an enormous replayability value, along with the randomized events and encounters. The card game aspect has been perfectly blended with augmenting relics, potions and other buffs and debuffs. The fights are all designed in such a way that you generally cannot handle multiple types as you are starting out. You can either have an area of effect focused deck or a single target, and later on there are other mechanics which counter particular builds, making you think very wisely before you pick a fight. The limited freedom of the pathing system gives more interaction value for the player, and the options of the rest sites are interestingly designed, and there's a lot of interaction between the rest sites and other mechanics such as the relics. The fact that there's also a 4th hidden act adds more spice to the ascension, and with this, my TED Talk has ended. The final score for Slay the Spire is 414 out of 5 total stars. It is no masterpiece, but all of its elements are well rounded, and it's clear they have been fine-tuned during the development process. Nonetheless, it's an amazing game to have in your library, even if you are not necessarily a roguelike enthusiast like your boy. But this has been all for today. I hope you have enjoyed this discussion, and if you did, your support by either subscribing or checking out my Patreon page would mean a lot. Until next time, stay strong.